Hey guys, welcome back to Morgan Hill Farms. I am filming this video on Saturday, September 28th, I believe. Yesterday on Friday, we were hit with a major hurricane. By the time it made it to South Carolina, it had been downgraded to a tropical storm, but it was the biggest tropical storm that most people have ever seen. At least that's what they have been saying on the news and things like that. So this hurricane came through the Gulf. It devastated parts of Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. And when this storm came up, it was very atypical. It came so fast onto land that it was able to maintain some incredible wind speeds all the way up into the Carolinas. So we saw gusts of 60 to 70 mile-an-hour winds. And that is double what I have seen since I've lived here. So we were really concerned. We were notified about this storm about 5 days prior to it happening. And when they were initially watching this storm off of the Gulf Coast, they were saying that it was one of the most massive storms that they had seen ever. So Friday night, the storm hit around 2 a.m. in the morning. The sound of the rain just pummeling against the house, the sound of the wind just making it seem like the whole house was moving and creaking, almost like the roof was being lifted off the house. It was extremely eerie. It was definitely a restless night for us. I think the kids did sleep through most of it. I was up periodically checking on our animal structures. We have some movable goat structures, and I was really worried about those. Luckily, they did not blow over in the winds, but it was just a very terrifying night. Hearing what was happening outside, not being able to see what damage had occurred, and having absolutely no control over what was happening outside was just very disconcerting. So around 7:30 that morning, the power finally went out. We still were sustaining really high wind speeds until about noon. Nate did ask me if I wanted him to go ahead and get the generator out and get things going. I said, you know, I don't think we need to do that. I think it's gonna be okay. I had already been preparing the day before by making some really easy breakfasts for the kids, so I didn't really feel the need to, be able to access the microwave. I was under the impression that our freezers would keep our food cold for about 48 hours. And so I told him, don't worry about the generator. It's fine. We've got a gas range. I also have a gas burner on my grill that we could use with if we needed to. From the damage that we had sustained at our property, I wasn't imagining that it was as catastrophic for everybody else as it was. We had some trees down on part of the property. We lost some really beautiful cedar trees. We lost some major branches from our pecan trees. We have 4 massive pecan trees that I was very worried about, but they weathered it very well. Those branches coming down are not going to affect the health of those trees. We did lose our whole pecan harvest, and all of my black walnuts are now on the ground, but I should be able to salvage those. But that night we did find that our freezers were starting to let a few things thaw slightly. So we did have to break that generator out. A little bit later in the day yesterday, I was able to get on my phone on social media. The cell service was very spotty. The internet service was very spotty. There is no home internet right now for, gosh, anybody in my surrounding area. That's completely wiped out. So there's no home Wi-Fi or anything like that. So you have to kind of rely on your cell phones. But when I got on social media, that is when I saw how catastrophic the damage was for people in our county and in parts of our state. So we have massive trees down, power lines down, electric poles have been snapped. We have major dams that broke and flooded areas. They were issuing evacuations as it was happening because they just weren't aware that it was going to happen. So they're issuing these evacuations so that people aren't getting caught in these floods. We had a lot of flooding and flash flooding all over the place. And I did go on to check and see what the electric company was saying as far as a timeline. And I was pretty shocked to hear that this may take weeks to get back up. It is one of the worst storms that anyone has seen in this area from 40 years ago that they can remember since they've been working as a lineman. That's what they were saying about some of their guys, that they've never seen anything like this and the damage that it caused. But we feel extremely blessed to just have sustained some trees down and things like that here and just be without power. I did want to share with you that as I was on social media kind of looking at the aftermath of this, Some of the things that I saw from my local community page were extremely concerning, and I think taking this real life event, this real life catastrophic emergency that occurred here, one that we had 5 days of warning for, what that looks like for your community. So I was seeing things asking, we don't have any power, where can I get some breakfast? I also saw one saying, I have 5 kids and I have no food in the house, where can I buy food? Also, people were looking for gas stations to see if they were up and running so that they could fill their cars up. One lady did come on saying that there was one gas station open, but that the shelves were completely picked bare. And then someone else had said that there was a McDonald's in a neighboring town that was open on a limited menu, but don't even try to get there because with the amount of trees down in the roads, it was going to take them so long to navigate that route to McDonald's, and that McDonald's was packed with people trying to feed their families. I also saw some posts about people just lining up in gas stations. I saw some pictures, and one woman was saying, man, people are starting to panic because they can't get what they need. Also, a really big thing was cash. Nobody had cash. So if there was a gas station open, they couldn't get gas or anything that they needed because they only could pay with their debit or credit card. And because all the internet is down and those services are down, everybody's working on a cash system if they're even open right now. Hey guys, I just wanted to come on and give you an update to that update. So since I filmed that video just 3 or 4 hours ago, there have been a lot of new developments that have been happening. Apparently Lowe's released a statement here in our town and the neighboring towns that there are no generators available, that people have been just looking for propane. They've even been buying the empty propane tanks, thinking that those have been full and then bringing them back to the stores. They've been looking for gas chainsaws. People are looking for milk and meat, and although Walmart is open right now, there are no refrigerated sections that are open because I think that everything either spoiled or maybe they removed everything. Anyway, so they're only selling like dry goods and things like that right now. They also said that the lines on the main road in town, and we're in a pretty small town, that they're just astronomical, and that if you want gas, you better be prepared to wait because the lines are just wrapped around and down the roads waiting for gas, if you can even get gas.
Everyone's waiting for that gas station right there. Look at how long the line is. Look at how long the line is. Look at how long the line is. Still going. Still going. Still going. Still going.
There's been also a lot of posts about gas stations being open, but being out of gas. So just wanted to throw that in there to show you how things are progressing. It was just really, really concerning to see how unprepared my community was for this. And it makes me think, what if we had an even longer term emergency occur without any notice? What would that look like? So in a longer term emergency, when people are not prepared or had no notice, you're facing even more people being unprepared. We had 5 days notice with this storm, and so I imagine that a majority of people did go out, get a couple days worth of food, some water, things like that, but we did have some that didn't prepare at all. It's extremely important that when an emergency happens, that you already have this stuff in your home, because most emergencies do not have any warning with them. And if your community doesn't have those preparations, they are going to be looking for them. And you do not want to be out in a store trying to fight somebody for the last item, or trying to get bottled water because you don't have any water, or trying to get food for your family in a situation like that. Because when people can't get what they need, they begin to panic, and it becomes very chaotic. We are so used to having modern conveniences. We are so used to having things immediately. And because it's become such a part of our lifestyle, we don't realize things until we lose them. I remember a few years ago, before I started prepping, the little key fob on my minivan broke, and I couldn't unlock the car, and I looked at my mom and I said, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get home? How are we gonna get in the car? And she said, just use the lock. And I think, what a silly thing. But these are some of the things that we aren't thinking about, because forever we've not had to use a little key to get into a lock. We just press a button. Or if we want immediate access to information, we have our cell phones. If we want to use something in our home, we have electricity, we have a microwave, we have all of these things. I can run down to, I don't know how many stores are right down the road and get whatever food I may want. But when those things are gone, people start to panic. And so I just wanted to give you guys this real life picture of what it looks like in an emergency with warning. Because when it comes without warning, it will be so much worse. We're looking at this as a learning experience. It's kind of like a dry run. What is it going to look like for us? What types of things do I need to be more prepared on? What types of things didn't I have that I wish I did? And I can tell you that I have learned a few things. I have learned that a solar battery bank for your phone or your devices is extremely helpful when you can't plug your phone into the wall to charge. You can simply take that out, put it in the sun. Even when it's cloudy, those solar banks will still charge. That is an extremely valuable thing to have on hand. Another thing that we learned was that our generator will not power a 2.5-ton air conditioner. So although the temperatures are low right now, we're in the 70s and 80s, which is totally fine for us, I couldn't cool my house if this emergency had happened in August when we were in the high 90s. We've also learned that our freezers do not keep food frozen for 48 hours. We've learned that we're gonna have to keep our generator running for a good 6 to 8 hours a day to keep that food cold and frozen. So all of these experiences are extremely, extremely valuable. And guys, if you can start thinking, if you're without power, if you didn't have these conveniences, what is it in your home that you don't have that you would have wanted to have? But anyways, guys, I don't know when this video will go out. Like I said, I don't have power. I do not have internet. And so I don't know when I'll be able to upload this. So you may be seeing it after a lot of this stuff has been cleaned up. But I hope you guys are well. I hope that you guys did not sustain damage in this storm. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.